Hello and welcome to Beyond the Scale, Weight Loss and Wellness. I'm your host, Coach Monica. I'm joined today by Coach Darcy, and we are here to guide you through the ins and outs of a lifestyle that's transformed not just our lives, but the lives of countless women navigating the waves of perimenopause and menopause. Whether you're here to shed weight, understand your body better, or simply find a community that gets it, you're in the right place. So sit back and enjoy the next few minutes as we tackle the hot issues of today. Welcome, everybody. It's good to be back behind the mic today. And I have to tell you, Coach, it was really boring last week because it was just me and myself in a coffee shop, and it was kind of boring. I much
Okay.
prefer doing this thing with you. So I'm so
Yes.
glad you're behind the mic today. And you've got a busy season coming up here with your kids, and whoo,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
And so
are,
we're fitting in a podcast.
yeah, yeah, it is that time of year for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but
Baseball,
golf, you told me, golf now,
golf too. Yeah. That's always
crazy.
Mark's season, but now one of the boys is doing this maybe for school, so it's
Yeah.
not gonna be
I
taxing.
I remember those days, and I've got some feedback on your mic there. I'm not sure what is different, but it was fine when we first. There we go. It's gone. Whatever you did just worked. So, hey,
It backed
welcome
away.
everybody. You backed away. All right.
Yeah.
It's good to have everybody back in the room with us. We're going to talk about something so simple today. It is so simple, but I just think it is perfect because if we don't get the simple, we're not going to get the heavy stuff that comes at us every day. We know the heavy stuff is here, and that's why we fail. And so we want to just take it down today, take it down a notch, and we want to talk about the perfection trap. Um, you're guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. If I can't do this thing perfectly, why do I try? Gosh, this is me right now. I missed one workout. With me, it's about a month because my life is super busy right now. So I just might as well give up. I just might as well. It's not going to work because I can't be there every single day. Um, why try? You know, gosh, I had an event on Friday night. I went off plan, and so it just isn't working for me. I always fail. It's just not working because I can't be perfect. And we see this a lot in our clients as we sit with them weekly. They shoot for perfection, which, if you're perfect, good on you. We are giving you a gold star because that's great, but that's not life. And
Right.
when you're consistently trying to be perfect, you're just buried in pressure. And when you're buried in pressure, you have the give up mentality, and that's the outward look at what's happening, but on the inside, you're increasing your stress hormones. Remember our little picture of it's like sucking on a lollipop all day, keeping your sugars high, and frankly, it stalls you. Just with that insight, and that you're like, coaches, how do you control that, right? Because that's my life. Stress is my life all the time. But it does stall you. And so we want to take that stall off of your shoulders today. And our message to you today is that perfection creates burnout, and consistency creates results. And if you quit because you're not perfect, you're obviously not going to be consistent. And consistency is what brings you the results that you want. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And this is a great episode. Um, Darcy, I want you to bring us in. I want you to
Yeah.
I launch the plane. I want you to bring us in with what your thoughts are. Why does consistency work better than pure perfection and intensity?
Well, usually, for example, for things of consistency, what it even looks like to have consistency. Um, you know, we focus on daily movements, prioritizing protein at meals, getting back on track at the next meal. And those are the power of small repeated actions. Those are examples of what that what that explanation is. Um, and the consistency really just helps stabilize that blood sugar, insulin response, energy levels, and hunger signals. And, your metabolism essentially responds to patterns, not occasional perfect days. Um, just when we are overwhelmed and consuming with so many different things at once, and we want that perfection right here and right now, these small daily repeated actions are going to feel very large. So
Yeah.
we
So
simplify
if
it.
I eat a French fry because there's kids in the back of my car and I eat a French fry,
Mhm.
what is that going to do to me? What is that
Well,
like?
there's
Yeah,
a lot of
because
things that it can do to you. You'll probably, you know, you could either do that 50-pound binge because one French fry is not enough. If you say you have control over that one French fry, you're gonna give yourself another leeway the next day. I'm like, oh, I was able to only have one, so today is a new day. I'm good. I can have another just one. And you're not including the other things that are going on in your life at the time. You might be stressed out at that time. It wasn't like yesterday when you had that one French fry. So that stress, like you were talking about with the cortisol, that's going to affect a lot of things with that new one bite French fry. It's going to turn into two, or oh, I'm just going
yeah,
to have, I'm going to top it off at five, but the five's still not enough.
yeah.
So,
So it could be kind of like if you struggle with food addiction, there's a little bit of a twist to this podcast because if you struggle with food addiction, I have red line foods that there's no way. If I took a
mhm,
bite of a donut, it's a 30-pound sugar binge for me. So I have to be very cognizant of that. If I'm talking about, oh my gosh, I just put a French fry in my mouth because my grandkids are with me, um, that's where a lot of people say, well, I might as well not even try because I ruined everything. So you have to look at it with kind of two sets of eyes. If you struggle with food addiction and French fries are your trigger, we've got a caution light here. We got to really get a hold of this right away. But
mhm,
most people fall into the category of, I didn't even know I put that in my mouth because my cute stinking grandson is behind me saying, Grammy, take a bite, and it just happens
yeah,
naturally. But most people would say, oh, I'm not perfect. So the rest of the day doesn't count because I screwed up. I'm a failure. I'm a loser. That's what I tell myself. So you might as well not even try anyway.
yeah.
So there's like two lanes here that we have to know about. Now, if I'm a food addict and I have a trigger, for French fries, I'm not going to beat myself up. We're going to do what this next segment of our podcast is. We're going to put those tools in action, but we're really cognizant. Okay, is this something that's going to derail me? Or what do we do? What does consistency really look like in the real world? And Darcy, talk to us a little bit about the what consistency looks like, but like specifically what I like to use in my coaching session is the 80-20 approach.
Mhm. Yeah. Clear to clarify consistency, that doesn't mean that you're unable to change. People think that you need to be consistent, you have to stay the same. Well, that consistency is causing you to stay in that same hamster wheel, the same cycle, the same mistakes that you made yesterday, or the 2 days ago or last week, things like that. So, realistically, consistency is eating nourishing meals most of the time, where you are working hard at doing 1%, like James Clear talks about, that 1% at a time forward. And you are focusing on doing things, forward and not
Yeah,
backwards.
right.
Even things like moving your body regularly. Now, you mentioned that you missed the gym once in that month, you don't go the rest of the month because you missed 1 month. So why do
Yeah,
we do that? Well, if for my sake, my gym is actually closed because they're getting new equipment again. So now that forces us to either not work out or to change where we're going to go work out. So my
right.
choice was I'm going to go outside. It's a beautiful day. I'm going to go walk. I'm going to take a friend and we're going to hike. So always finding another option of,
Yeah.
if one thing doesn't work in that pattern for you, that's where that consistency, people think that you can't move. Well, no, you can adjust what you do. And then, sleeping well most nights. You might not sleep well every night. I had a night this week that I didn't sleep very well because I had a kid that was not feeling well. So I had to be up. And so that's no, I'm not going to be that guy at church that says my bedtime's at 8 p.m. and I'm leaving it if I'm past my bedtime. We have one of those. But then also managing stress intentionally. That is, people think that chaos and stress goes away. That certain type of stress or chaos may go away for a little bit, but something new is going to happen. So they're trying to fight their way upstream instead of going with the flow of traffic. So managing that stress and taking note and learning those tools how to manage that stress for your life is great. So, Monica, you talked about the 80-20 approach.
Yeah.
You say that you coach your clients this way. So, talk to us how that coaching session goes.
Yeah. So during my normal sessions, because our clients have goals, right? They come to us when we do the intake with them, they have goals. They want to see weight loss most of the time. They want to see that. They want to see a consistent weight loss. So the 80-20 rule would work in that it just is slower. And then the other thing that I have to incorporate is my client addicted to food. So I have a lot of different techniques that I use with them, but a lot of times when real life hits, say we're going on vacation, spring break is just hopping right now. What I tell my clients is, okay, I want you to stay on plan 80% of the time. I want you to take the pressure off of yourself to be perfect on vacation. We've got weeks of perfection and we celebrate those weeks. But if you're going on vacation, I want you to take an 80-20 approach. Could be a 90-10 approach because it just depends on how aggressive your goals are. So the 80-20 approach is just going to be a calm sense of weight loss, just bumping it down little bits at a time. And then I say, when you get back, we're going to do 90. We're going to do 99%. We're going to get right back on track. And we kind of control that clock for them. But for most people, the 80-20 approach, again, progress doesn't require perfection. It requires momentum. If I have a client who's doing 80-20 and she is so frustrated because she's not losing weight, something's wrong. And so we've got to hit the accelerator, but that comes at strategic times. But if you take the 80-20 approach and say, hey, 80% of this week, I am on plan, 20%. I might have messed up. I might have taken a detour. We're gonna scoop you right back up. We're gonna put you back on that plan. But the 80-20 approach, it's gonna be a small, consistent weight loss, but it also lets you live life. If we are not factoring life into our journey, you're going to fall. You're gonna fall. You're gonna throw it in the towel. You're gonna say, this is not worth it. Consistency means returning to your habits, not ever leaving them, just returning. So that is that is probably the number one reason why people fall off of a plan is because they think they have to be perfect. And fact of the matter is life isn't perfect. Life is messy. And if we don't factor our weight loss journey into the messiness, we're going to fail every time and you're going to be on a diet hamster wheel. So, Darce, when you think about your clients and you think about, put some of them in your mind right now and think, okay, I have a client. She just went on spring break. She came back and she's just really flustered. How do you get her back on track quickly?
Well, we have a reset strategy. And
Mhm.
the biggest thing, I think the number one thing that I like to really highly focus on for them is to avoid the guilt and the negative self talk. That
Mhm.
is seems to be like the number one thing that gets them to keep off of plan because they're like, well, I gained, 5 pounds from this and I'm struggling to get back on track. So, um, somebody at my, you want to take over real quick? That's one of
Yeah,
mine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you get flustered with yourself because things didn't go as you planned them, and you're like, oh, I failed. What we do is we reset you. I say, okay, are you hydrating your body? Let's get you hydrated. Let's nourish your body with hydration because that is the engine oil of your entire journey. If you're not hydrated, you're going to fail quickly. All right. What are you having for breakfast in the morning? Let's eat a balanced meal. Then let's eat two balanced meals. Let's get you right back on track. Sometimes we put our clients through a detox because they have brought in all of that old stuff into their life coming home from vacation. So we just kind of reset with a detox. Get out and move. If you're not going to the gym, do you have 30 minutes after lunch that you can just get out, put your face in the sunlight, and walk? Can you do some strength training? Can you do some stretching? The number one thing about this all is avoiding the shame, avoiding the guilt, and just make your next choice matter more than your last mistake. That is huge. Your next choice decides your future, not your last mistake. And so, quick recovery, it prevents you from a small slip becoming a long setback. That is just preventing that long setback, getting your mind snapped out of that long setback that you had or that vacation that you had, getting it quickly reset for that next step of, okay, coach, what's the next plan? If you get rid of the guilt and the negative self talk and the I can't do it, if you get rid of that, that is the number one thing to get you right back on because the cool thing about our program is it's not diet food that we eat, it's a nice juicy steak. So getting them back on track on the food plan is very easy for us. It's like, "Oh, well, go have a steak. Go put some butter on your broccoli, enjoy a nice big salad." That is the easy part. The hard part is getting rid of that guilt and that negative self-talk. I always have a client, when they go on vacation, I have them schedule with me the morning they get back. Because if I can get them in the right mindset the morning they get back, they are ready to go. They're like, okay, let's do this thing. Let's press the accelerator. I'm ready to go. But if they come back from that trip overwhelmed with guilt, overwhelmed with shame, it is very, very difficult to get them back on track. So, Darce, um, I'd like you to take us through building habits. Not just building habits, but building habits that last. When you have a client come back, what do you teach them when it comes time to building these habits that last?
Yeah, so it all comes down to also sustainable routines, which are typically what we like to call systems that build into that habit. The little things that you do, just like what Coach Monica was talking about at the top, like those are parts of systems that then equal the habit of then when you're on a vacation and you're doing the things, you can then get back easily instead of staying off the exit ramp. We for example, we tell our clients like planning your meal, simple meals when you get back. There's nothing fancy that we need to be having after we get off vacation. Setting a consistent sleep routine. And we all know when vacations happen or when trips happen or whatever we're doing, sleep routines tend to get out of whack. So getting back into a good sleep routine so that you feel back to normal. And that might take a week or so to get back into that. Had like a church camp jet lag, and that took me about a good old week to get back on track. But I would turn off the TV, or not in my day watching, getting sucked in by reels or whatever, and making sure that I get to bed at an early time so that I can fall asleep and have a good night's sleep. You can practice those simple systems to get you to your sleep routine again. Scheduling movement into the week, even if you're laying on a beach chair or if you are, not going to the gym, starting out with a simple walk when it goes uh, really nice outside, or if you've been stuck inside since winter has been happening, when it going to a gym somewhere, getting on a treadmill, just doing a consistent easing into your movement. Because if you're trying to go lift at the gym that same amount of weights that you left by doing, 20 pounds, don't do 20 pounds when you're at the gym, less than that, because you're going to be so sore that you're not going to want to go to the gym then the next day. So implementing small, smart habits that way. And then making sure that you are checking in with your stress levels.
Yeah.
That is pretty big too, because we can be super relaxed, but now we've got a whole bunch of stuff to do at home that we brought back from vacation or brought back from whatever we've been doing at that exit ramp. Checking in with, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? Are you well? Are your systems in place so that you can, survive, not survive, thrive the next week that you get back on track. So
Right.
those small habits that you do repeatedly, or those systems that then create those habits and they're done repeatedly, create a powerful long-term change.
Yeah.
And by doing those and implementing those over and over, you realize that when you go off those exit ramps, you will see the difference. It's like if you eat sugar for the first time for, in a month, you notice that sugar that you've eaten. So because your body tells you, in overall, like, your health improves through thousands of small supportive decisions. I looked it up because one time I gave a quote and I was completely wrong about it. But the average person makes 35,000 choices a day. That is 2,000 decisions per hour. So if you're making all of those choices a day, and then you think about how much that is in a week, you are making choices all the time. It's whether or not you are making a good supportive decision or
Yeah.
a negative one that's going to make you decide that, oh, I'm going to just, go ahead and get off this exit ramp because I'm tempted by the world around me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh, that's so true.
Yeah.
That is so true. And a couple of the other things that I had found in the Atomic Habits book, a lot of times, when we go on vacation and our vitamin, regimen is disrupted, when I get home from vacation, I set up my systems so that that morning I get up and my vitamins are right next to the coffee. It's everything and that takes a little bit of unpacking. That takes a little bit putting myself together, untogether after vacation because I need to see those vitamins when I wake up in the morning. I need to make sure my refrigerator is stocked full with healthy food. I need to set my environment up when I get back so that I am just ready to keep walking. Just keep walking. And and we want you to know that you don't have to be perfect. And that's the diet culture right now. The diet culture saying, well, you got to do everything this, this, and this. You got to drink this first. You got to do this, this, and this. You don't have to be perfect. You don't need to start over every time. You just keep walking. You just keep returning to the habits that supported your weight loss, that supported your body, that supported your mind, your body, and your spirit. Progress is built by showing up and showing up again. Show up tomorrow, show up the next day, even when you're not perfect. If you get that concept, sure, your weight loss may be slower. Sure, it's great to stay in your macros every day. It's great to track your food every day, but you're not going to be perfect. But if you keep showing up and showing up again, having your meeting scheduled with your coach the morning you get back, she's going to put you right back on track. You're not going to have skipped a beat. So take the pressure off of yourself. You're not going to be perfect. There was one perfect person who walked the face of this planet. And ladies and gentlemen, we are not Jesus. We really aren't.
No.
Okay? So
Yeah.
forgive yourself, get up, and show up tomorrow. That's our
Yeah.
message to you today.
And just a bit of reflection after this. I love to give some questions that challenge us to ask us, ourselves, where are we in this? What did I get from this? So with this week, after you listen to this podcast, ask yourself, um, was I consistent enough to move forward? Or this week, instead of asking, was I perfect? That's where you would say, was I consistent enough? Or
Yeah.
did I add in, my systems in place? Are those systems in place
Yep.
to continue to move forward? Am I
Yeah.
strong in that? So, um,
Yeah. And
that's what,
if
you
you're not,
should reflect on.
yeah, if you're not sure, guys, you can't do this alone. And that's where so many people take on this whole burden of getting healthy. And they're like, I got to do this on my own. I can't tell anybody about it because I know I'm going to fail. You can't do it alone. That's why we spend hours each day sitting with women, sitting with men who want to change their life because our clients are not perfect. They need a coach to say, hey, coach, how do I get back on track? What do I do? And that's where we come in because we've been in that pit. We know how to get out. And so we just say, okay, awesome. You had a great trip. Tell me about your babies. Tell me what happened on this trip. All right, now what do we do to get back in the saddle so that we can continue losing weight, so we can continue getting healthy, and we can win this thing? So if you're struggling, that's the time to reach out to Coach and myself. You can find us on kmhealthcoaching.org. Schedule a call with us because we want you in the right program. Schedule a call with us. We do free health assessments. Get excuse me, get us on the phone and let's start your journey. Let's start your plan on what do we do? How do we get you out of this pit? So we're hoping that this was an encouragement to you today and that you are fired up and ready to go grab your health and take yourself to the next step. So, hey Dars, what are we talking about next week?
So next week, we're diving into how to carry relationship with food while
Ah,
still pursuing weight loss.
yikes.
Yeah, that's a
Broken
toughie one.
relationships with food. Woo!
Yeah,
It'll be intense. Yeah, but
yeah,
it's so needed because there is such a bad relationship that we have lived in for so long. So we're excited about next week. We
yeah,
hope you join us and we hope we found that you found some encouragement this week. We hope, it's our job to bring encouragement, a little bit of poking if you are like, hey, I have lived in this perfection world, maybe that's my problem. We're the girls to reach out to. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.